Okay, I'm going to answer the big question about roasting turkey. And there, of course, are many ways that one makes turkey. We're really addressing the Thanksgiving issue today, and that's part of the reason why I'm in a friend of mine's house, because anyone who has to make Thanksgiving dinner is not going to be in the beautiful commercial environment that you see in most of my other videos, or all of my other videos for that matter. So I'm going to try to help you overcome the problems of making Thanksgiving dinner in your house, and that's why I'm in a house, okay? And it's a lot different because I'll tell you, I'm not used to it. So my heart goes out to you, but today we're going to work together to see if we can cut a few corners, and I'm going to give you some pointers on how to make this work a little bit easier. The first thing we're going to do in terms of the roast turkey today, which is the central part of Thanksgiving, of course, but then again, don't forget, roast turkey is roast turkey. You can serve it any time of year you want, and that's something you might want to consider because people love eating turkey all year round. But anyway, what I've got here, and we're going to talk about selecting your turkey first. You want to keep in mind that when you're going out shopping for your turkey and you're trying to determine how many people your turkey will feed or not feed, and the reason there's always so many leftovers, of course, from Thanksgiving, which we love to have around, is because we always get more turkey than we need to make sure we have enough. And I think that's where the whole tradition of leftovers comes from. But what do I know? I think there's such a wide range of different sizes of turkeys. Now, what I have here today is a 26-pound turkey. And I bought it frozen, and I let it thaw out in the refrigerator for 2 days. It takes 2 days to thaw it out in the refrigerator. But if you want to thaw it out faster, you can thaw it out under cold running water. Maybe you have a sanitary sink or something like that that's large at your house where you can put your turkey in and run under cold water. If not, you'll have to keep it in the fridge for a couple of days to thaw it out. So now, how you apply the information in terms of roasting your turkey, it doesn't matter what size the turkey is. That only kind of determines how long you might have to cook it. I think the bigger the turkey, the kind of like the less temperature, but we're going to get into the details of that later. And of course, the recipe will give you a few pointers on the do's and don'ts of turkey roasting too that you can click on. So let's take a shot at this turkey. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something really basic. We're going to loosen up all the skin inside the breast. And we're going to stuff the inside of this, in between the skin and the breast itself, I'm going to put a bunch of sage leaves and some salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic. So I guess the first place to start, and I've got a little bit of oil here, and you can use clarified butter, salad oil, virgin olive oil, extra virgin, whatever you want. Just something to get a little bit of slippery going in there. Now, in between the skin and the breast is where your hand's going to have to go. But one of the things you want to be careful that you do is that you don't rip the skin in between. So if you can get down here and zoom in, I mean, you're going to have to spend a little time getting some of the stuff out. I took all the giblets out of this particular turkey. And you have to work your way through the turkey breast. It'll probably take us 5 minutes to get through this turkey. We're going to try this side first, just a little bit. You notice how I'm getting my fingers in there, but you want to be careful. You don't do it too fast. Now, there's some of the membranes in there have to be kind of ripped, but don't accidentally rip the skin. It's not going to be the end of the world if you do, but you might end up with part of the breast exposed during the roasting process, and you don't want that. One of the things I always get a kick out of on Thanksgiving is when I'm talking to people about their birds is this whole business of the self-basting turkey. You notice how this is, I'm slowly working my way in here? You don't want to do this too fast. And as your hand gets up in this part here, it has a tendency to maybe break it. So you're going to maybe do this side do this side of the breast from this side of the breast, and do that side of the breast from that side of the breast, which is what I think we'll end up doing. So there's these little membranes in there that I keep breaking. Now, one of the neat things about what I'm doing is you can do this with just about any poultry or fowl that you want. People do this with chickens a lot. All right, we're going to come from this side a little bit now. These membranes back here are a little bit thicker than they are on the front end, but we're going to get through this. This is kind of neat because you're going to stuff your sage leaves in there and it has a nice look. But one of the things I do when I roast a turkey with sage, like I'm going to do with this one, is I put leaves all over the thing too, besides just inside here. Like, look at that. You can get it closer, but it looks like something from the Alien in there, you know? And it's coming. It's going to go all the way down here, see, to cover the whole breast, you see? Now I'm getting my whole hand in there now, see? This is kind of fun, but you want to get it over with too. You know, it's kind of fun playing with the turkey though. All right, let's come back from this angle again a little bit. Now you see how opened up I got it? You want to get all the way down here to the bottom of the breast part down here. Okay, we got that all done. See, look at there. See how my hand's in there? Now I'm going to open it up, make sure the other side is all clear, and then we'll stuff some stuff in there. I got to be careful with this hand because I injured one of my fingers about 3 weeks ago in the gym. It's not 100% healed yet. But there, I think we got it. All right, there you go. You see how much room, how I'm moving around in there? You want to make sure you get it all like that. Look at that. And we didn't rip the skin in the process either. Now, we're going to put... I'm going to throw a little bit of salt and pepper in here. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on my hand. And I'm going to give you some pointers about oil that will make your turkey look really nice when it comes out of the oven too. And that will include putting oil on the turkey. Now, like I said, you can go about doing your turkey all kinds of ways in terms of how you roast it. Temperature-wise, length, with lids, without lids, and all that. But I'm going to show you one way that always works well. All right, we got a little bit of salt in there. Now I'm going to release a little bit here and there, so you rub that pepper around in there so it doesn't get big pockets of pepper anywhere. You don't want that. Somebody might get a mouthful of pepper later on. All right, now I'm going to put a little bit of garlic underneath there. Also, you still want to be careful because at this stage you can still rip the skin and you don't want that. All right, now I got all these sage leaves here. This is fresh sage. Now you can use dried Dalmatian sage too. You don't have to use the fresh sage leaves. But they're nice. I use both. And they both, here's the whole one with the stems on them. These are, and then these I picked off the stems already. So we're going to stuff some of these in this spot also. And even though this is a little traditional, you don't see a lot of what I'm doing going on for Thanksgiving. But I tell you what, one of the great things about turkey is as long as you keep it simple, which is really kind of what I'm doing. Now let's go in from the other side here a little bit. Get some sage leaves down in the bottom down here. See here, way down here? There you go. Yeah, we'll put a couple on the other side. All right, so there's your breast, all covered with the sage leaves, a little salt and pepper and garlic. Now, the wings, this you can leave on if you want, or you can trim it off. But just make sure that you have everything out of the cavity, including the little bag that the liver and the gizzards and all that comes out of, because we're going to be using that later for the stock, okay? I'm going to put these wings, and sometimes they give you a little bit of trouble, but if they do, give you too much trouble, then you can trim off the wing itself, the wing tip. There you go. I snapped that one a little bit to get it in there. I may have to do the same with this.
John, we can't actually see what you're doing from this perspective.
Okay. I'm tucking the wingtips underneath the bird is what I'm doing. And you don't have to do that. You can roast it with the wings sticking straight out. And sometimes they'll stay in there and sometimes they won't. But I would say that this one is having a hard time getting it to stay in here. But let's see. No, that one's not going to stay in. I'll tell you what I would do. I would usually go like this. Cut it off. What I don't want is I don't want the wingtips getting in the way of browning the whole thing evenly and cooking it over here. So you don't want what's the word I'm looking for? You don't want it cluttered. You don't want the circulation of the heat being diminished because you got stuff pressed up against the bird. We're going to throw this one in the stock pot later on. So anyway, there's your turkey without the rest of the seasoning. Now I'm going to put a little bit of oil in here. And we're going to put salt and pepper in here. And we're going to be a little bit generous about that. We're going to put garlic in there. And we're going to throw a little bit of sage in there. Now, you know, part of the thing about the wingtips tucking in or not tucking in, and I cut that one off, has to do with the fact that the turkey it's been sitting out here for about a half an hour and it's not real cold. When it's real cold, it's not quite as slippery. It has a tendency to tuck in there a little bit better. But it doesn't matter either way, because what I'm going to show you to do with your turkey when we're all done roasting it is doing this the day before Thanksgiving. And I'm going to show you how to bone the turkey out and lay it out and reheat it so it comes out really juicy and nice all the time. It doesn't have to be roasted the very same day. That's an option that you can exercise or not, but I'm going to show you how to streamline doing your turkey so that the day of Thanksgiving, it's easier for you to give it to your guests and you can spend time with them instead of playing with the turkey. But of course, there's that whole carving tradition that gets cut out when you do it the day before. But part of the whole process of making the turkey, from my point of view, is how do you get the best gravy? Now, you're going to get the best gravy because you boned the turkey out and took all the carcass from the turkey and the bones and the scraps and made turkey stock. And then you reduced and made your gravy or sauce out of that. And so in the absence of being able to do that, you're not going to have as good of a gravy. So that's part of the reason why I recommend it, doing the turkey the day before and boning it out. Because there are two big advantages here. The first one is to get better gravy. And the second one is it's easier on the day that you're going to serve it. And there's no loss of love or quality or anything else in terms of making a turkey the day before and reheating it. It comes out perfect as if you just roasted it. So now I'm going to put a little bit of oil all over the turkey. And I'm going to hit it with some more salt and pepper. I want to be careful about putting a lot of garlic on the outside of a turkey that's going to roast that long, by the way. Because what you don't want is you don't want a bunch of burnt garlic all over your turkey. I think I am going to cut this, which is that little flap on the back of the turkey, off. Now, here is the pan that I have, which contains the total of what was inside this turkey. This plastic thing, which I'm throwing in the garbage, and it's got a little gizzard, a little liver, and a neck. Now, all this I'm going to end up putting in the turkey stock pot. Now, the way I'm going to be able to show you this today is I roasted a turkey yesterday, and I'm going to bone out that cold turkey while this one's in the oven roasting today, and you're going to see this whole time-elapsed process of this turkey being roasted, going in, coming out, cooling, and then boning and presenting it on a platter, okay, and how to reheat it and all that. So, fortunately for you, this is time-lapse, but I'm going to spend, I don't know, 5-6 hours today playing with this turkey to make this video work for you and so that you'll be able to make your turkey a lot easier than you might otherwise. Okay? So, more pepper. Or how about pepper? I didn't even have any on there. Now you can put a little bit of garlic. Now the other thing you might want to do is you may want to use garlic oil. But as long as you're careful and you're not roasting your turkey at a high temperature, you should be okay. Now, all right, you got a seasoned, flavored with sage and a little bit of garlic turkey here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to slide this back a little bit. See, in your house, you're struggling. I set this up so I could be a little bit like in your house making this turkey. In the commercial environment that I always show you on the videos, there's, it makes it look so much easier. But I realized today, when we were going to do the turkey and the stuffing and the cranberry and that in my friend's kitchen today, this is a struggle. So this is really good information if you're cooking at home all the time and you have to make this big dinner for 10 or 15 people. So I've got a rack that I think will fit into any normal oven. I got a little, what they call, in some cases, a roasting rack. In other cases, it's a cooling rack for putting things on. But it has some feet on it because you want to get a little bit of circulation of the heat underneath the turkey when it's in the oven. If you lay the turkey directly on the sheet pan, yes, it'll roast. Yes, it'll still come out good. But you'll get a little bit better circulation of the heat by putting it on top of something that elevates it slightly. Okay, which is what we're going to do right now. Okay. Now that just fits on there. And now I can tuck my wing in on that one. But this wing, it got cut off already. All right, so there's your turkey ready to go in the oven. Now, I'm going to put a little bit more oil all over this turkey. And part of the reason why is it's going to help this turkey brown really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the turkey in the oven at 400 degrees. And I want to brown the turkey a little bit first, because this turkey is going to be cooked completely exposed and uncovered in the oven the entire time it's cooking. So I'm going to brown it at 400. Then I'm going to turn it down to 325. And I'm going to finish the process of cooking the turkey. And every once in a while, if you want to, or you want it even more brown or more crispier, throughout the process, you can go in and throw a little more oil or a little bit of whole or clarified butter on it to help keep it nice and juicy and crisp on the outside. Remember, the only way your turkey is going to be juicy in the final analysis of roasting it for that period of time is that you don't roast it at a high temperature. All right, so I think I've covered most of the primary stuff for this stage of dealing with the turkey. And so I'm going to pop it in this oven right behind me now. And we're going to do a little bit of time-elapse thing. I'm going to, well, let's put it in the oven. Now, I've got it in the oven at 400 degrees right now. And I'm going to go back and look at it in about half an hour. In about a half an hour, it's going to be starting to brown. Then I'm going to make my determination when I'm going to turn the temperature down. I'm not turning the temperature down until it's brown. Because if it's not browning, it's not really cooking that much anyway to begin with. So turkey is big and the oven's small. And depending on the kind of pan you have, you might want to put another pan or two underneath it on the shelf to catch anything that might fall over the sides. But I don't think much is going to fall over the sides of that one. Okay, ready? Roast turkey. It's been 3 hours and 40 to 45 minutes. In my opinion, that turkey is done. I have not tested it for doneness because I want to take it out of the oven, set it up here, and show you how it's tested. And I want to do it the very first time that I test it. I want you to see it being tested, and I'll tell you why when I get it up here. I opened the oven door a little bit so it would just chill out a little bit, so it wasn't boiling hot when I went to get it out. So I'm going to put it up here now, so bear with me for a second. What I would have done if I would have dropped it on the camera, I'm not sure. Probably would have had to roast another turkey. But anyway, look how brown and crispy this turkey is. And if you look here, you'll see, if you can zoom in on this, Richard, you can see that the sage is all baked and encrusted underneath the skin that we put in there earlier. This is a really pretty looking turkey. Now, how to test the turkey. All right, just like a chicken, and I'm going to use that as the best example because a chicken is the best example. And that is that at the base of the joint of either one of these legs, this is the part of the turkey that is last cooked. So what I'm going to do is we're going to sever this slightly and just take a peek in it. That's the easiest way for you to do it. And so I'm going to cut that skin right there. And if there's any blood at that joint, then this turkey is not done. When I say any blood, I mean bloody, bloody. This turkey is looking, those juices are looking pretty clear. Let me see if I can get you in on that. The juices right here. You see how clear they are? Now, if they're bloody, you got a problem, and they're not. This turkey is cooked, and that's the best way to test it. Now, you can, if you think, let's say, 3/4 of the way through, you think it might be done, you can do what I did. Don't pull the leg back so much, and you can put it back into the oven after, let's say you went like this here, and you just took a peek like that. That's probably all you're going to need to do to test it. Let's say it's 3/4 of the way done, and you can put it back in and let it finish off. And now, God, this turkey looks really, really good. I really like the way this turkey looks. Make no mistake about it, we will be eating this turkey sometime after this shoot. Not to be confused with a turkey shoot, okay? So anyway, in a nutshell, you got it. How to roast a turkey. Important factor in terms of if you're not going to use my recommended method, which is to do the turkey the day before and make the stock. Let's say you're going to serve this turkey today and you've roasted it, and you're going to make gravy out of pan juices and any other stuff that you might have that you make your gravy out of. Let this turkey rest for a minimum of a half an hour and more likely an hour before you even start cutting it. Because if you cut it when it's hot, it's just going to bleed all the juices out of it, particularly in the breast. Now, why do I say that? Remember one thing about a bird, a turkey or a chicken, which are our best two examples. The breast is cooked much further along before the joint of that leg is cooked. In other words, this is done long before this leg is done, which means it's already cooked a little bit too much to begin with. So if you cut it when it's that hot, it's going to bleed. So you want to let it relax and rest for half an hour, hour, even an hour and a half, even 2 hours. In my particular case, I recommend overnight, and then you cut it and you get all those juices. So there you go, roast turkey. Good luck with your turkey. I hope you have a nice dinner, and don't forget to click on the other video icons for all of the other things that go with this turkey, which is what this turkey is really all about.